Okay, so the number one correction that I went around offering to like specific folks was some iteration of don't just change your structure, break theirs, right? And there's a very big difference between, oh, I can try to move around, like I'm here and I'm changing my sword body positioning relatively like this. If you don't break their structure when they want to hold a strong position, that is a bigger risk, right? You have to put in some effort. Now, that doesn't mean just grab your muscles and just yeet them someplace, but understand principles of structure. Your body's behind the bind, move into a different position where your body's behind the bind that is stronger. That's often shortening, right? If I'm here in a neutral bind and I come up and bind here, that's a shortened position, but it's strong, right? So that's the number one thing that I saw. So any questions, any insights related to that? Anything that worked well or kind of was weird? Yeah, Claire.
I found it difficult to break their structure by looking exactly how to do that. Because it felt like when I tried to break their structure has a tendency to follow because it doesn't want to be broken.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this is hard. And it's not hard. I mean, there is muscle involved in this. It is easier to wind into somebody's structure if you are bigger or stronger or have a size advantage against them. But there's a lot of that you can overcome by making sure that you're doing that in a particularly structurally advantageous way. I'm going to demonstrate something I saw with Jason, if you can come up here. All right. So one way that Claire was winding before I corrected her on this, right? We're coming to a neutral position. And Claire was simultaneously trying to put her sword up and also hit their opponent, right? Winding, if you go from a position of neutrality like this, when no one's clearly strong, if you try to go from this and go straight, you are choosing to perform an action towards their body while giving them a moment where they can act towards your sword. You have to deny them the chance to act towards your sword from a position of structural advantage. So you have to put deliberate effort into pushing their sword offline in a way that you have structural advantage. So really resist this, right? If I go like that, that comes offline. That's harder than this. Now I can hit safely. So you have to create that action, create that time. You're buying a tempo back by saying, no, I'm going to break structure before I go, because you can't take advantage of their already broken structure, right? Any questions on that? Any other insights or thoughts or opinions on winding? Yeah, go for it.
How much do you aim which part of your body, if I want to start winding on somebody, is it hand, do you turn your shoulders, do you keep your arms straight, just kind of, mechanically, what do you think about when you think about attacking that blade? Do you want to move your body first while your arms are straight? Is it really contextual? What's the, to keep, you still want to stay structured as you're moving into them. What's the thing you want to move first?
That's a wonderful question. I love that. Does anyone want to take, I have an answer for you, but does anyone want to take a stab based on what we've learned about strong and weak, long and short today? Yeah, Marissa? I saw your hand go up out of the light. Right? That's a rough time to scratch your head. Can you take a guess? Sword first.
And focusing on keeping your body behind the bind.
Yes.
But whenever you were winding on Jason, your body was staying behind the bind the whole time. And then only once he was no longer structural integrity did you then go into it.
Yes, absolutely. So the answer is, in general, try to move your sword first. But if you're like, oh, should I move my arms first in this direction? I'm not going to give you a specific answer. I'd rather keep it generic and principles based, which is you should move your sword first to gain that advantageous position because you're going to be faster being able to move in time of the hand than time of the body. However, you want to move your hands and arms in whatever direction preserves that sword body alignment or strengthens it, right? So there might be times, and you guys might recognize this before, if we go back to the speaking window drill that we did a little bit ago, right? Where Jason strengthens on me and then tries to go long and I shorten, right? I'm moving my sword over like this and I'm withdrawing my hands. This is winding. You already learned winding today. I just gave you another drill about it, right? But my hands are withdrawing so that I can gain an advantageous position and put that body behind the bind. But then I can, from here, wind again offensively. My hands move first, but in the position where it needs to be structurally advantageous. Does that answer your question? It's not a direct mechanical question. It's a principles-based answer. Cool. Other questions? We're going to slowly segue into free sparring, but not quite yet, right? So now we're going to open up the last little bit of this work. We talked about not just defining what structure is in terms of strong, weak, long, short. How do we recognize when structure is broken, and how to break structure when it is potentially there versus how to exploit already broken structure. Now we're going to do some drills that have general starts and finishes, but we're going to let things proceed a little bit. Most of what we've been doing so far has been like, you guys are doing a single action to understand that. Now we're going to allow that to open up. So in this first drill is called, well, James calls this a Zufecten drill, right? We're going to be at a distance where I'm not necessarily going to be able to hit immediately in that. Zufecten distance, the distance of relevance, yet not of immediate threat. Jason is going to be structurally weak, right? What should I do against somebody who's structurally weak? Set, right? And a set is an offensive taking action, right? But now Jason can do something about that, right? And I have to work within his actions to try to gain a mechanical advantage by reading his structure in context. So for example, if we go really slowly, maybe I set on this and Jason might change underneath. Now I have to do something different to gain that strong position, right? Gain a different position and just work into as my motion safely, right? Here, right? We'll see how that goes, right? And we're gonna go back and forth and see who gains an advantageous position first. In that case, Jason got an advantageous position as I advanced. Now I've got to get back, right? Because I've lost that. I'm weak. I don't want to keep advancing while I'm weak. So one more time, baby, he's here. I'm going to be lefty now. Go here. Now I do something different while he's moving to maintain that structural advantage once it's gained. But again, the game is going to be Jason or your training partner starts weak. You initiate the action, which is what we call what in the KDF? The initiating action, vor, right? I'm going to be in the vor, and I have to choose the correct action to eventually gain a strong position while he's non-compliant. Sound good? We're not going to go fast, right? We're not trying to hit aggressively. The goal is to gain an advantageous position, not to hit our opponent just because we don't have jackets on yet. Sound good? This is the second to last drill of the day. So find a training partner, find a spot, and go for it.